The Florida rapper was known for his cruelty and promoted violence in his music, amassing a following base that didn't seem to care about his crimes. XXXTentacion lived a life of frantic, nihilistic violence in which nothing was ever put on hold. He had a #1 Billboard album in the previous year, was banned from Spotify, sacked by his record label, and charged with aggravated violence on a pregnant victim and witness tampering. There is more to know about this aggrieved and violent rapper. Stay tuned till the end of the video to get the full story. In court records and public interviews, his ex-girlfriend recounted the most brutal assaults. He will be remembered primarily for the extremely cruel violence he perpetrated on defenseless people, most notably his ex-girlfriend, crimes for which he never expressed regret. His music, a melancholy, at times heartbreaking, blend of hip-hop and emo, mirrored a life lived with contempt for humanity, both other people's and his own. Many of the trappings of gangster rappers who were shot at a young age in the 1990s were there in his life: drugs, violence, and constant run-ins with the law. XXXTentacion, real name Jesse Dwayne Onfroy. He was insecure and drugged up, still dealing with the effects of his own horrific background while ruthlessly abusing others. His victims were not members of opposing gangs, but rather women and outsiders. His music rarely attempted to display boldness or material gain. Instead, it focused on mental illness, suicide, extreme sexism, and a general sense of numbness. In 1998, Onfroy was born in Florida. His mother was unable and at times just uninterested in parenting him, and he spent much of his childhood traveling from home to home. He has consistently stated that he had an exceptionally deep bond with her. He said she would shower him with presents and adoration. When she was gone, gloom and despair ate away at him, defining his little life. Onfroy was frequently in difficulties for his violent behavior, and he was once expelled from school for assaulting another student. By the age of 17, he had already been charged with handgun possession, armed robbery, resisting arrest, and Xanax possession. He had served 2 juvenile jail terms, the second of which he viciously attacked a cellmate whom he mistook him for a gay person. When his mother questioned what had happened, he responded in an interview with the Miami New Times, "This nigga did some gay shit, so I had to crack his head open." He began recording music when he was released from juvenile detention, largely underground mixtapes with minimal public appeal. However, Onfroy's profile began to soar in 2016 as a result of the internet success of his song "Look at Me," a single with harsh lyrics that set the tone for that period of his career. Onfroy was a member of a new generation of artists known as SoundCloud rap, whose music expressed a break from social conventions and embraced internet technology and extensive Xanax use. The role of Xanax, an addictive and powerful medicine intended to treat anxiety, was critical. It relieved internal agony and caused a floating dissociation from reality. Lil Peep, another shining light of SoundCloud rap who Onfroy despised, died in November of a Xanax overdose. At the same time that his career was taking off, Onfroy had a connection with a woman who he severely abused. According to court documents, he stepped on her head, strangled her, kicked, and beat her. He would also make frequent suicide threats, often coming dangerously near to killing himself in front of her. The woman then became pregnant, and Onfroy began to viciously abuse her and briefly kidnap her. Onfroy was caught for these acts, as well as others, and was held under house arrest at first, then in prison. While incarcerated, Onfroy became unsettlingly well known. A$AP Rocky expressed his excitement for his release on Twitter, and some accused Drake of plagiarizing one of his verses. When Onfroy was placed under house arrest again while awaiting trial, he began recording. He collaborated with Diplo and other famous names, finally releasing 2 albums, the second of which reached #1. It's a compelling record, performed in large part on acoustic guitar by a man anxious to get anything out of life that he accurately suspects is coming to an end. He was praised by genre titans such as Kendrick Lamar. "Never told you how much you inspired me when you were here. Thank you for existing," Kanye West tweeted after his death. Some associate Onfroy with the #MeToo movement, and his music has been addressed in think pieces on whether art can ever be separated from the artist. But the truth is that Onfroy's acts are so heinous and his hatred for women so uncontrollable that they deserve their own category. Unlike other artists whose aggression against women became public after they got famous, Onfroy's incarceration for domestic violence contributed to his celebrity. Onfroy was charged with witness tampering in his final months, and he was accused of persuading his ex-girlfriend to drop the allegations against him. He made some attempts to repair his reputation, claiming to have donated $100,000 to a domestic violence organization at one point. However, this is debatable. But the gravity of the acts he was accused of never seemed to sink in, and he would frequently resort to aggressive words in the same breath as attempting to vindicate his identity. Onfroy tweeted praise for the gunman the day after the Charleston incident, when Dylan Roof murdered 9 African Americans while they were attending church, dubbing him Lil Dylan Roof and showering his name in heart emojis. Later, he deleted the tweet. Onfroy regarded Kurt Cobain as the only person who inspires me. Cobain is sometimes referred to as a member of the 27 Clubs, a group of people who lived fast and hard only to have their problems catch up with them at a young age. For Onfroy, 27 would have been old age. His life had been filled with so much suffering, both inflicted and survived, that he barely made it out of his adolescence. He was shot and died during an armed robbery in Miami. He was 20 years old. XXXTentacion was awaiting trial for a 2016 domestic abuse case involving a former girlfriend when he was shot and died in June. The Miami-Dade County State Attorney's Office charged him with aggravated violence on a pregnant woman, domestic battery by strangling, false detention, and witness tampering as stated by the alleged victim in a 2017 deposition. He pled not guilty to the allegations and insisted on his innocence till the day he died. Pitchfork has discovered a secretly recorded tape of XXXTentacion conversing with acquaintances around the time of his arrest on October 8, 2016. XXXTentacion can be heard stating his ex-girlfriend, whom he believes cheated on him, "I put my source of happiness in another person," which was a mistake at first, right? "But she had failed on every previous occasion till now, until I began fucking her up, bruh. I began fucking her up because she made a single mistake. And from then, the entire cycle collapsed. She is now terrified. That young lady is terrified for her life. That is something I understand." He didn't say anything about what he did to the claimed victim. "I will kill that bitch if she plays with me," he said earlier in the recording. After being arrested in October 2016 for the charges, XXXTentacion went on to the top of the Billboard albums chart, and he has continued to stoke discussion even after his death, smashing Taylor Swift's previous streaming record. His comments on the tape alluded to some of the darker themes in his music. Have you ever seen someone have their tongue cut out? Have you ever witnessed a rape? Have you ever seen someone try to kill your mother in front of you? He questioned an unidentified man, attempting to explain how events he watched influenced his own violent behavior. Every night you go to sleep and you remember what you saw, how it felt, and that horrible feeling in your soul. Nothing can make you feel better. It's something I'll have to deal with. That will be it for today's video. I hope you enjoyed it. Do give us a like and subscribe to our channel. Thanks for watching, and bye for now.